Growing up, I was a shy, very quiet guy. You wouldn't know I was in the room. Just, yeah. And then over time, different life experiences just kind of put me sort of in a corner where I'm like, okay, I either become a version of myself that I've never been and like stand up for myself, stand up for my values, or I continue to just let life swing me by, blow myself into the wind. And so I chose to try to go by the first option and yeah, try to be, like someone who I can actually live by the values I have inside me.
Amos Madra.
Jeff, now a transformational life coach, speaker, finance analyst, and founder of J Inspire. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, Jeff. Just before we started us talking about your content, it's so fresh. There's so much good. I mean, Jeff Inspire, the name says it all. It's very inspirational. Have you always been that type of person, a very inspirational, charismatic person?
You know what? If I'm being totally honest, no. I think it's something that's just sort of come out of myself. I've been on a long journey, a journey to come out of my shell, come out of my limiting beliefs, and once out of that, like inspiring others to do the same. So to be totally honest with you, no. Growing up, I was a shy, very quiet guy. You wouldn't know I was in the room. Just yeah, and then over time, different life experiences just kind of put me sort of in a corner where I'm like, okay, I either become a version of myself that I've never been and like stand up for myself, stand up for my values, or I continue to just let life swing me by, blow myself into the wind. And so I chose to try to go by the first option and yeah, try to be, like someone who I can actually live by the values I had inside me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was watching one of your videos and I heard you speaking about being shy, but then putting yourself out there in uncomfortable situations and being able to help people, putting your own limiting beliefs or shyness to one side and focusing on the other person. And I thought that was really interesting. I think your journey, your story is really interesting. Talk to us about Jeff, young Jeff, to the person that we see here today.
Yeah, so young Jeff, like growing up in school, I was, like the academics were there, but it just in terms of being social, I was probably one of the quiet ones. Like in the room of 30, I was definitely one of the ones where the teacher had to pick me to answer a question before I wouldn't have to really raise my hand. So this kind of was the trend and the cycle growing up in school. And I think it just kind of became apparent that, like I used to see people in the playground, that were getting like attention and stuff like that. And I always thought, I really want to be like them, but I can't because I'm shy. I'm already shy. The only kind of saving grace I kind of had at that time was football. That was a little bit of an escape away from that shy Jeff because my abilities in that kind of shone through whereby I was one of the better players. So I had to almost have that almost like being the captain, that type of role. And then it came up to probably around age 17. My aspirations growing up were to be a footballer. I managed to get sort of trials, professional scouts around East London saw me and wanted me to trial. So had these trials at age 17 and didn't work out. Didn't make it, but then that kind of shot my confidence down because this was the one thing I thought that could escape me from this shy, quiet kind of person. So from then I just regressed back into that. And the only thing about that is that because I stopped playing football after that trial and went to uni and did the uni thing, graduated, but came out and was still the shy person. There's nothing that could get me out of this. My first job after uni was a difficult one. I didn't think I got off to a very good start because I was also training to be a chartered accountant. So I was doing ACCA studies, failed my first two exams, and that put a lot of pressure on me. The managers around in the company said that, oh, that you're basically on your last straw here now. Otherwise, we're taking away your funding and potentially you might lose your job. And so that pressure that really built up in me, and that only you can imagine, someone's already quiet, is already shy, regressed even further. And it was at this point in my life where I would say it's probably the most difficult point, but it's the point where I reached that corner where I said to myself, okay, like things are going in this trend. If I continue to almost not stand up for myself and not take my life, like take it under control, I'm going to continue to regress and regress and regress, and I'm never going to be anything, I think, in life. One story which I haven't yet posted on my page, which I'm about to, so this is probably an exclusive here, but one story I remember is when I was driving home from this job, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, I don't kind of care anymore. Like, I don't think I have the ability to turn my life around. I'm really struggling here. Like, and at the time, I couldn't really speak to anyone. I felt that the friends I had in that job, they were enjoying and they were doing well, and I wasn't. I felt quite disconnected at times, even though I was in conversation with them. I felt disconnected. So driving home, I felt, what is this? And to be totally honest, totally transparent with you, as I was driving, like if anything was to happen to the car right there and then, no, I wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to swerve away. Whatever happened would happen, and that's it. That's it. Me, Jeff, gone. But at this time as well, I started to listen to motivational videos, inspirational videos. So like from the likes of Kobe Bryant, from Oprah, from Denzel Washington, from Tony Robbins. These people had the motivational messages, which I would listen to every morning just to encourage me to get through the day. But then also at times when the whole day itself wasn't the best, just the motivation, I listened to them again at night, just so I could go to bed with hope that tomorrow was going to be a better day. Over time, these messages kind of conditioned into my mind that you can actually take control of your life, what you are limited in. And for me, probably the skill set of the role and just lost the confidence there. You can work on that. So then I read a book, Mindset by Carol Dweck, which really helped me to develop a growth mindset that, okay, I'm not the best right now, but I can be better. I can grow if I just sort of take steps into be intentional to be better, to improve my weaknesses. And then from that, I then saw a little bit of clarity in the dark situation. I then managed to say to myself, okay, maybe it's not working out in this role. I'm going to shift roles. I'm going to change roles, change companies, and start again. But start again with growth mindset and just with the want to be better. And that's where it really started. And then like life got a bit better. And then this just every day felt good again. And then COVID happened. And then obviously we shut down, we're locked up in the lockdown. But then this is when others around me were starting to struggle, and I could see that. And so for me, going on this journey, knowing all the things I sort of picked up, I thought to myself, I can help people here. So just a story on my Instagram page helped a lot of people. I just said, like kind of just no words, nothing spectacular. Just, yeah, let's just keep going, guys. It's going to be over soon. What you can do in your free time is just maybe learn a new skill, learn a new habit. Some of the things that you were quite weak at before, maybe you've got the time now. Learn, try and improve. And people got quite inspired by that. And then that was basically the birth of J Inspire right there. That was when I decided to be very intentional about this, intentional about helping people. And basically that's the person you see today. And that's sort of the long-winded version of the journey.
What an inspirational journey, and what a remarkable person that you are. In your despair, in your darkness, and a time where, you know, there was a lot of uncertainty and just not sure what you're doing with yourself, and just, you know, a lot of people would go inward, and you know, they just want to lock themselves away from the world. But for you to want to turn it around, again, being intentional, to, you know, reach out to listen to inspirational content, reading books that were going to lift you up and build your mind for better, is great to hear. And of course, now you are this person who's supporting other people. How does it feel when you hear people coming to you and saying, because of you, my life is transformed, and you're making, you know, an impact in the person that I am?
It's honestly like it is probably one of the best feelings, not just like kind of helping them, but it's almost starting a chain. Now that they felt inspired, they've got sort of a new lease of life now. And what they do with that it's what they that can inspire others as well. I feel like it starts with just sort of one person to sort of start the wheel going. If I inspire you, you then feel empowered, and then you know how that feels to be inspired. So you probably are more likely to help somebody else. It was it's just something that I really, really like kind of, yeah, I take a bit of pride in it, but I also feel like just doing my bit in the world, really. I just do my bit. It's something which I truly believe like is part of my purpose. It's to help others. Like it's something, it's the journey that I've been on where I needed help in the moment, and the videos that I listened to helped me. Like in the dark room, just that one glimmer of light there. Like it takes just one crack in a wall in a dark room with just a little bit of light to shine for that room to no longer be dark and for you to be able to function. And then the more light that comes in, obviously, then the brighter the room will get. So that's just what I want to be. Just a little crack, nothing crazy big, but just something that will allow somebody's darkness to just light up a little bit for them to see, you know, like a path how to get through to wherever they want to. And that's what J Inspire is.
This is so good. You know, you said something really key there, you know, purpose and finding your calling. Is this you now? Is this the Jay that we could, you know, Jay Inspires, this Jeff for the future? Is this what you're throwing all your eggs into? Is this what you've committed yourself to?
So it like for me, I believe this is what how I see it. This is how I see it in the current form that it is of me sort of being on social media with my videos, with my coaching, and very soon to be a podcast as well. These are the forms in which I'm taking to sort of align to the purpose that I have to serve others. In about, I don't know how many years time, maybe the way in which I serve my purpose might change. So it could potentially be, I mean, like a few days ago, I did a talk in my workplace, and it was about sort of overcoming limiting beliefs, but I related it sort of to the workplace. So being more niche about it like that. Um, there's other things with coaching that, you know, the journey that I've been on, being in that sports background, you know, helping people that are in that high intense environment that also need that light. I think for me, if my purpose align the alignment of my purpose is to, you know, to help to serve others, it can be seen in different ways. But I think what I can guarantee is that I will still continue to live by the purpose, no matter how that appears on sort of the surface level.
Yeah, I mean, again, just the things that you're saying, there's such richness to it. You know, Jeff, when you were growing up, did your parents sow these seeds into you? Because it sounds like your reflexes just, you know, when your back was against the wall, you kind of went to something that was invested in you long ago, and your subconscious mind reached deep down to that seed that was sown, and you've birthed this thing that you've become.
Yeah, like it's actually very interesting you say that, because I feel like who I am, I think it's a combination of both, like say my parents, both my mum and my dad. So in my dad's side, for example, he's probably got a bit more of the sort of that discipline and sort of that kind of the intentional side with where, you know, like if I want to make sort of this better, like I have the tools within myself, I can do it. And it's just that sort of style there is more like him. So being backed into that wall and, you know, driving home and that day just thinking about giving up, it's like my dad would not give up. He wouldn't give up. Like he's like come from Ghana, and has come to came to this country when he was, well, I think, 20 something, and made a life for himself. And that was just through his two hands there, and just worked his way up the ladders and stuff like that. And that's where I think I get that almost that discipline, that sort of pride, that motivation from. My mum, she's sort of a little bit more of the caring, the loving nature, where my purpose to serve her and help others, I think that comes from my mum's side. So on my mum's side, yeah, she's so caring, she's so giving. And I think that's it, just being more conditioned around that as well. So, you know, like if there's somebody struggling, you know, try and help them out, try and see if they're okay, coming from my mum's side. So over COVID times when people were struggling, you know, it was not in my nature to just ignore that. It's in my nature to help, to serve, to try and make people's lives a bit better. I had the knowledge that I had along my journey, rather than just keeping that and making the COVID experience okay for myself or others struggled. It wasn't an option for me. So it's to help, you know, wanted to help others. So yeah, the combination of both my mum, my dad, just blended into myself. And yeah, even to this day, like they help me, they give me advice, and just make sure that, yeah, I'm sort of like kind of aligned and living by like good values.
Indeed, and also the wisdom on your part to act on the information that was given to you. So, great kudos to you as well. Jeff, earlier you spoke about taking control of your mind. Now, for the audience listening to this, I'm sure many of them want to learn how to take control, because sometimes we get caught into the monotonous grind, if you want to call it that, but we get into a routine of things and life takes over rather than us in control of our situation. What can we do? How can we control our minds? How can we control our lives? How can we ultimately control our days?
Yeah, so this is such a very common issue with a lot of people. When life takes over, when there's a busy schedules, or when there's even goals, like you want to achieve a goal and it's just like non-stop grind towards that goal. Or if you don't have one at all and you're just sort of getting through life, going to work, coming back. For me, how I kind of slowed down the wheels there is just through sort of practicing mindfulness. So that sort of slows yourself down a little bit. So I wake up in the morning, sure, yes, I've got a lot of things to do, right? But to be intentional and have sort of that first hour of the day dedicated to yourself. If you're the type of person that wakes up quite late before having to do their first obligation of the day, try and spread that out so you can have sort of at least an hour just to yourself. Be with yourself, sort of social media, put that away, and just be intentional. So there's things you can do within this hour. You can meditate, you can journal. If you wanted to, and this is how I started off doing, was just like kind of listen to motivational videos or just videos of my interest. So just purely just being with myself, right? At least with that, before the day goes on, you've got that all to yourself. Over time, then you can start to use sort of this hour more intentionally. So have it to maybe look at sort of maybe weaknesses that you might have, and then you can use this first hour to work on these weaknesses, like a little bit every day, to get closer to what you want to be or to accomplish or to create a different life. Because it does, like, it is a cycle. Life is a cycle. You wake up, brush your teeth, whatever, go to whatever job or profession that you do, come back, eat, sleep, repeat. But if you can have times in the day where you can be sort of mindful and just sort of break up the cycle, it then allows you to just take more control in your life. And so, yeah, so just, I think that's how I started the journey. I started the journey by making that first hour my hour. So like there's do not disturb modes on phones. There's a lot of things that you can do. You can even put your phone in another room and just that room, that first hour is your first hour. It's your day, so own it. So yeah, that's what I think my best advice would be in terms of that.
Another interesting thing you said was becoming. So instead of this 21 days of going through something, it's almost like you go through a fast, and then at the end of it, you're back to you revert back to the old you. You said something interesting, becoming. So you actually become that thing, that person that you've always wanted to be. So it's not a case of a period of time before you revert back. This is the new you. It is who you are. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, and even the way I think you should approach wanting to become something, because a lot of people when they have these goals in mind, to maybe to work out more or to perhaps learn another language or something like that, just a goal in mind, right? They start off by trying to think about what they will do, what they need to do. So I need to sort of do X amount of this over time. But really, fast forward to who you want to be. So when you're there at who you want to be, what does that person embody? So what do they do? What are their habits? Who is that person? There's a book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, talking about kind of embodying sort of that sort of person. If you want to be an athlete, like kind of the book says to kind of embodies sort of what an athlete does. So the athlete wakes up at a certain time. The athlete does has this certain sort of foods and nutrition and stretches more and all of those things that the person you want to be, right? You can do that today. You can do that today. And then over now, this is a journey of an athlete. So you don't have to wait to the end to be that person, to be that. I don't know. There's many different examples. I don't want to sort of niche into one, but there's that's the process. Is the process is to start to embody what that person is today. So that involves you actually knowing what that person is at the end of that road. And so a lot of people just get on starting it. And that's how habits break down, because you don't know where you're going. And some days you're a bit lost, and that doesn't really work out. So if at the end of the journey, if this is the person you want to be, or these are the habits that person embodies, start that today. You're not going to be perfect at it, but you're going to be more intentional with things. So the intention really does lead to sort of consistency. So that's the journey. That's how you should really approach these things.
Jeff, this is pure gold. It's so good. And thank you for referencing one of my favorite authors as well, James Clear. What a great book. And, as you were saying that, it kind of reminded me of The Matrix, where when they want to acquire a certain skill, they become that thing, that person. It's like when they want to fly a helicopter or, do something, it's like suddenly the information is downloaded and they become that person. And it's like you said, you don't need to wait till the end of the day, the month, or even the end of the hour. It's like instantly, that's it. That's who I am. I am this person right now. And you embody it. And again, it's so good. Now, the audience will certainly want to know who, connect with you and know what your plans are for the future. What can we expect in the future? And also, how can the audience connect with you?
Yes. Firstly, yeah, the future. There are a lot of things on the way. So yeah, I mentioned it just earlier that there is a podcast which I'll be releasing very soon. It's called the Inspired Living Podcast. So stories that I've mentioned today, they are going to be more the things I'm going to be talking about in each episode, and just more, not just that, but as in what the lesson is from that. So every story I have will relate to one of the limiting beliefs that I've had and how I've overcome them. and how sort of you can do the same. And just want that is sort of the inspired way to live, and that's what it is. Which will soon invite some guests who would love to have you as well one day on the pod, and then just hearing other people's stories. And so that's sort of the main thing. Website will also be on the way, which you can see sort of more about what I do. And then also sort of links to sort of my coaching as well, and things like that. But yeah, you can find me on sort of all the social medias at J Inspire. The Instagram handle has a dot in the middle, so at JAY.inspire. But yeah, I'm there. Hopefully every day, like you'll see me posting. And yeah, I'm really, really passionate about what I do, and hopefully, yeah, if I can inspire you, please use that on to inspire others.
Yeah, amen to that. And we will definitely put all the links for the audience to connect with you. Wow, it's been such a privilege just talking to you, hearing your story, and just, to think from, a dark situation in your life, you managed to turn that around, a complete metamorphosis, a complete turnaround. And now you're inspiring others from someone that was recluse perhaps and withdrawn, shy, is now reaching out and helping so many people. It's a true testament to show that if you set your mind and you are intentional, you can literally become anything. And you are such an inspiration. And I want to honor you and thank you for that.
I appreciate it, Amos, honestly, and thank you so much for having me. I mean, like seeing what you've done and what you're currently what you're doing on your podcast, and yeah, it truly is as well. Like learning a lot of people and what people have gone through, what people are currently doing. Like this is such a great platform, and like I'm honored to be on it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you want some amazing inspiration, check out the videos next to me, and I'll see you right there.